I was living in Manchester at the time. I'd just been at college in Salford University, and I'd finished the course, and I'd sort of got in with a group of people who were really interested in making their own short films and putting on their own theatre productions, and so I really got kind of involved in all of that. And so after the course, I decided that I'd write a one-person show, and I just put it on in a small theatre in Manchester. And after the performance, somebody came up to me from the crowd and just sort of said, you know, you should really think about becoming a professional actor, or you should really think about doing more acting. You know, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do at that time. I was trying lots of different things, you know, music and making short films and plays. And so he said, you know, if you're really interested in becoming an actor, you should maybe meet this agent. And so he gave me the number of an agent in London. And I didn't even know what an agent was, or why I would need one, or how that, you know, how that even works. So he sort of explained to me that an agent helps you get acting work, and that I should maybe meet this woman who's still my agent today, back in London. So I went back to London and I met her, and she said, you know, if you're serious about wanting to try acting, you should maybe move back to London from Manchester, and we can see if we can get you some work. So that was how it really kind of started professionally. As a kid growing up in England, you know, all the films that I kind of watched were Hollywood films, you know. And it wasn't until I got to college, really, that I kind of was introduced to sort of British cinema. You know, directors like Mike Leigh and Ken Loach and Alan Clark, and for the first time I really sort of saw cinema in a completely different way. You know, it wasn't a sort of fantasy landscape. It wasn't something that you just couldn't relate to in any way. It wasn't so much about escapism. Suddenly I was seeing all these British films that were showing characters and a sort of a world that was my back door more than, you know, these sort of big Hollywood entertainment films. And one that sort of stood out more than any of the others was a film called Naked by Mike Leigh, and the performance that David Thewlis gives as the main character in that film. And I'd just never seen a film like it, you know. I was just blown away by the performance. I couldn't believe the writing of the film and the ideas that it tried to tackle in such a sort of gritty kind of landscape that was, you know, the streets of London, you know. So that was when I really kind of made a transition from music to film. I realised that these films were as great as some of the albums that I was listening to, you know. So that was a huge, huge, huge sort of turning point for me. There's not one way of getting into the industry, you know. Everyone has a different story that's unique from somebody else's. So it's really hard to sort of give specific advice, because you're just going to find your own way, whatever that is. And there's no right or wrong way of going about it, I don't think. But the only advice you can kind of give is just to kind of do it because you're passionate about it and because you love doing it, and that will kind of come off and pay off, hopefully, somewhere along the line. And to just have sort of small goals. I really don't think it's helpful to sort of get into acting because you want to be a big star. You know, it's just, you want to do it because you like doing it and because it makes you feel good, and it sort of exercises that creativity that you might have in yourself. So yeah, I guess the advice would just be to do it because you like doing it, you know, and hopefully something will come out of it.